In today's story, an employee discovers that their manager has built an entire fake paper trail against them. Before we begin, settle in and enjoy tonight's story. My boss used fake IT tickets to frame me. My boss told me to ignore 17 IT jobs because they were duplicates. A month later, he used those same jobs to prove I wasn't working. By then, he had already done it to someone else, and if I could not prove how, I was next. I worked in internal IT for a logistics company. The first duplicate appeared after I replaced a damaged laptop in Warehouse 3. I transferred the files, configured the user account, installed the warehouse software, tested everything, and closed the ticket. On Monday morning, the same job appeared in my queue again. Replace damaged laptop in Warehouse 3. Different ticket number, same user, same machine, same problem. I showed it to my manager, Martin. He barely looked at the screen. Migration error, he said. We had recently moved to a new ticketing platform and the migration had been a disaster. Closed jobs reopened. Old requests vanished. One employee received an automated warning about a ticket created in 1970, so Martin's explanations sounded reasonable. Should I close it as a duplicate? I asked. No, leave it. It's assigned to me. You've already done the work. He looked back at his monitor. Ignore it. I'll clean these up later. A few days later, another appeared. Configure replacement laptop for Warehouse 3, then another. Transfer user files to replacement device, then another. Confirm successful laptop deployment. They were all fragments of the same completed job. Every time, Martin told me not to touch them. He said the migration had split old tasks into separate actions. He said he was fixing them in batches. He said I was wasting time by worrying about it. By the end of the month, 17 duplicate tickets were sitting open in my queue. Then Martin invited me to a performance meeting. There was a printed report on his desk. My completion rate had supposedly fallen from 94% to 68%. The report listed 17 overdue jobs. I recognized every one. These are the duplicates, I said. Martin frowned. What duplicates? The migration errors. You told me to ignore them. I don't remember that. You said it several times. He tapped the report. These tickets were assigned to you and never completed. They were completed under the original jobs. Some of the work may have been completed. Some, you replaced the laptop. This ticket was for configuring it. That was part of the same task. Then it should have been documented. It was. Martin folded his hands. Did I tell you to ignore these tickets in writing? That was the moment I understood. He had not forgotten what he told me. He had been waiting to ask that question. Martin said he was not putting me on a formal performance plan yet. He called it an informal opportunity to improve. For the next month, I would have to close every assigned ticket within its deadline, write detailed notes, and send him a report at the end of each day. You're a good technician, he said. But people who cannot document their work become a risk. He pushed the report toward me, and risks are expensive. Before leaving, I asked whether he genuinely believed I had failed to do the work. Martin gave me a calm little smile. I believe what the system records. When I returned to my desk, I opened the original laptop ticket. My final note had changed. I had written, replacement installed, user files transferred, email and warehouse applications configured, user tested and confirmed working. Now it said, replacement installed and tested. Everything proving I had completed the other stages had been removed. There was no visible edit marker. I took a screenshot. Then I checked the timestamps on the duplicate tickets. Every one had been created after the original work was finished, not during the migration, not overnight, not at random. Minutes after I closed the genuine job, someone created another version designed to remain unfinished. I thought the timestamps solved it. I printed the report and took it to Martin. He looked at it for 10 seconds. Then he asked why I had been examining management audit data. I said I was examining my own tickets. He said access to system metadata was not part of my role. By lunch, my administrator permissions had been removed. That was my answer. The system was not malfunctioning. Someone was waiting for me to finish, but Martin was not doing it to everyone. He had selected 3 people. And when I saw who they were, I understood this was not about performance. The first was Graham. Graham had been with the company for 14 years. He knew every undocumented server, every warehouse cabinet, and every bad decision the company had made since 2012. He was also the most expensive employee beneath Martin. When I showed him my 17 duplicate tickets, he turned his monitor around. He had 34. Martin had already placed him on a formal performance plan. Graham said he had started wondering whether his memory was failing. He would complete a task, then weeks later Martin would show him a second ticket claiming part of the work had never been done. "I thought I was getting old," he said. The third person was Priya. She had fewer duplicates, but one had been used to extend her probation. Months earlier, she had challenged several expenses Martin submitted for external IT consultants. No one else had the same pattern, not the cheaper technicians, not the compliant ones. Only the people who cost more, questioned him, or knew enough to become inconvenient. The duplicate tickets were deliberate. But they were only half the scheme. Graham found the other half in a management presentation on the shared drive. It contained Martin's annual bonus criteria. His bonus depended on productivity, reduced backlog, lower labor cost, salary savings, and successful management of underperforming staff. The real tickets increased his department's output. The duplicate tickets created failed work under selected employees. If he forced one of those employees out and left the position vacant, he could claim a salary saving. The work stayed the same. The payroll became smaller. Every fake failure moved him closer to £40,000. That should have explained everything. It did not. £40,000 was a large bonus, but Martin was risking his career to get it. He was behaving like a man who needed the money before a specific date. Then, during a team meeting, Martin shared his screen. A notification appeared in the corner. It was from a betting company. The preview said his deposit had been declined. He dismissed it immediately and continued speaking. The notification did not prove anything. Neither did the live football scores he checked during meetings. Neither did the money he borrowed from 2 junior technicians. Neither did the 3 emails asking payroll whether management bonuses could be advanced. But the £18,000 missing from the company purchasing card did. Priya found that part. Martin had ordered networking equipment using the company card. The purchases had been approved and entered into the asset system. Several were later cancelled. The refunds had not returned to the company. The money had not disappeared. It had gone somewhere finance was never supposed to look. Martin did not merely want his bonus. He needed it before the audit found the money he had already taken. He was using one fraud to conceal another. And once he realized we were comparing records, he accelerated. An urgent server ticket was assigned to me at 2:14 one morning while I was asleep. I was not on call. 48 minutes later, Martin marked it unanswered. At 3:20, he reassigned it to another technician. By the time I arrived at work, it had been added to my performance record as a critical failure. I emailed him the on-call rota proving I had not been scheduled. 2 hours later, the rota was replaced with a new version. My name had been added retrospectively. That afternoon, HR invited me to a meeting about my continuing performance concerns. Until then, I wanted my record corrected. After that, I wanted Martin exposed. Then Graham found 3 board presentations containing Martin's manipulated productivity figures, and I realized exposure was the one thing the company could not afford. Senior management had already praised his savings. They had approved staffing decisions based on his numbers. At least one employee had already been dismissed using the same kind of evidence. If Martin's records were fraudulent, then the company had rewarded false performance, removed staff using fabricated data, and failed to notice missing funds. The truth was no longer just evidence, it was leverage. Graham wanted to report everything immediately. Priya agreed. I told them not to. If we went to HR, the company would remove our access, seize the records, and control the investigation. We might eventually be proved right. We might also spend months unemployed while lawyers decided how much of the truth we were allowed to keep. Companies do not reward the person who raises a problem. They reward whoever makes the problem disappear. I had stopped thinking like an employee. I had started thinking about what the truth was worth. The official ticketing system said the jobs were incomplete. Our inboxes said otherwise. Every time Martin edited a note, an older version survived in an automated email. Every time he moved a deadline, the original remained buried in someone's notifications. Every time he changed an assignee, another message preserved the previous name. Over 2 weekends, Graham, Priya, and I reconstructed 6 months of records he thought he had erased. He had targeted 5 employees. 1 was already gone. 2 were on performance plans. Priya's probation had been extended. And HR had scheduled the meeting that would probably end my job. We had the pattern, we had the motive, we had the altered records, but Martin could still claim the system was broken. We needed intent. We needed to make him do it again. A router failed in Warehouse 2. I replaced it, restored the connection, and confirmed everything was working. Then I left one minor ambiguity in the notes. The company had 2 warehouse cabinets with similar internal labels. I told Martin verbally that the job was complete. I did not close the ticket. The previous morning, I had gone to the head of internal audit. I did not give her the entire archive. I gave her enough to prove the allegation was credible. Then I told her that if my access disappeared or the records changed, the complete evidence would go to the external auditors and 2 board members. She said that sounded like a threat. I told her it was a continuity plan. Audit agreed to monitor Martin's account for 1 evening. The monitoring window ended at 8. At 6, nothing happened. At 7, the router ticket was still untouched. At 7:30, I started wondering whether Martin had realized. At 7:43, he logged in. He closed the original router ticket himself. At 7:49, he created a new one. Install and configure replacement router in Warehouse 4. He assigned it to me. At 7:52, he marked it overdue. At 7:55, he added a management note. Technician failed to complete assigned router replacement despite direct instruction. Potential service risk. Audit captured every click. There was no migration error, no automated workflow, no misunderstanding. Martin had taken the bait. The following morning, 2 people met him at reception. They escorted him into a conference room. His account was disabled before he left it. By lunchtime, the department was told Martin had been suspended. By the end of the week, we were told he had left with immediate effect. The announcement thanked him for his years of service. It said nothing about the fake tickets. Nothing about the missing refunds. Nothing about the gambling. Graham's performance plan was cancelled. Priya passed probation. My meeting with HR disappeared from the calendar. For 48 hours, I thought we had won. Then legal contacted me. They called it a confidential resolution meeting. The company director attended. So did HR, internal audit, and 2 lawyers. They thanked me for raising my concerns. They said Martin had acted alone. They said senior management had been deceived. Then one lawyer asked whether I had copied company data outside approved systems. I said I had preserved evidence after official records began changing. He asked where the copies were stored. I asked why he needed to know. The director interrupted. He said the company wanted an outcome that protected everyone involved. That was corporate language for one question: what will it cost? Their first offer was £20,000. It included removal of my performance warning, a neutral reference, and an agreement that I would not discuss the investigation. I laughed. The lawyer looked offended. I reminded them that I had 3 board presentations built on false figures. I had evidence of an employee being dismissed through manipulated records. I had internal emails showing that unusual staffing data had been questioned before Martin was exposed, and I had not yet contacted the dismissed employee. Their second offer was £45,000. I asked whether his solicitor had seen the board presentations. They came back with 60. I stood up to leave. The director asked me to sit down. I told him I was not interested in an apology. I wanted a number. The final agreement was worth more than £80,000. £45,000 was classified as an exceptional retention bonus. $25,000 was compensation connected to the withdrawn performance process. $10,000 covered legal advice and associated claims. They gave me a new title, a 12% salary increase, 6 additional weeks of leave, and written confirmation that I had completed every disputed task. In return, I signed a non-disclosure agreement. I could not identify Martin publicly. I could not discuss the company's internal controls. I could not reveal the settlement. I could not contact former employees about the investigation. The company agreed not to discipline me for preserving the records. Graham was furious when I said I intended to sign. He said the dismissed employee deserved the truth. Priya said taking the money would make us part of the cover-up. I told them they were free to reject whatever the company offered them. Neither did. Graham accepted early retirement on enhanced terms. Priya received a promotion and a substantial backdated pay adjustment. Everyone discovered that principals had a number. Mine was simply larger than they expected. The company blamed the irregularities on weaknesses created during the ticket system migration. Managers attended mandatory training. A new approval workflow was introduced. The dismissed employee eventually received a settlement after challenging the evidence used against him. I do not know whether anyone told him exactly what happened. Under the agreement, I was not allowed to ask. Martin was never publicly accused of fraud. Several months later, his professional profile showed that he had become an operations consultant. His description said he specialized in efficiency, transformation, and performance improvement. I considered sending his new employer a message. I did not. That information was no longer mine. I had sold it. I stayed at the company for another 18 months, long enough for every part of the retention payment to clear, long enough for the new title to look legitimate on my CV, long enough to use the extra leave. Then I left. The money became the deposit on my house. Martin became a consultant. The company called the entire thing a migration failure. People sometimes ask whether I regret signing the agreement. I do not. They did not pay me because I was brave. They paid me because I was expensive to silence, and I took the money because they were willing to pay it.
You've been listening to Low Light Stories, original fiction for late-night listening. New stories are added regularly, so subscribe if you'd like to hear the next one. Thanks for listening.